in the greenhouse, and it is currently 27.3 degrees in here, which equates to around about 80 degrees Fahrenheit. But I have had the door open a little while ago. It was up to 32, so I think now I've shut the door it'll probably go up again. But it is lovely in here at the moment. And I don't know if you can, oh no, she's disappeared. I've got a friend's dog staying at the moment, so I've got little tuppence with me, so you might see her in a bit. But what I've come in here to do today is to pot on my tomatoes. That's where they're going, and I've got to create my own mix. Obviously they're hungry plants, and I'm going to pot them up. So I've got 3 tomato plants to pot up and 3 large pots, so I'm not sure if I've got enough compost, but we're going to see how much I can fill. So this is the multi-purpose compost. Break that up a bit. And then I'm going to use up what I've got left in this bag of the manure. Whoops. So I'll mix those together. I've opened up a second bag of manure and added to it. So I'm just going to give that a good mix. Now, adding organic matter helps with the water retention, and obviously helps feed it as well. Black gold. Right, so let's get my first pot. So this is a 40 centimetre pot. I don't know how many litres it is. It doesn't actually say. If it did, the label's worn. But yeah, let's fill that. So the first one I'm going to sow is the Roma, which is the plum tomato, and it is a bush variety, so it has a limited amount of growth, and when it reaches that point it stops growing, whereas the other 2 that I've got are indeterminate, which means they will just keep growing unless you pinch the tops out. So I'm just going to dig a hole, and one of the things that I've learned with tomatoes is that you need to plant them deep. They'll produce more roots here. So I'm going to break these little bits off and I'm going to plant them quite deep. Now I'm going to get a bit more of that compost and top it up a bit. If you've never grown tomatoes before, one of the things you need to do is between each leaf joint, if you get these little plantlets, they're known as suckers. If you leave them, they can get quite big. Now, you need to pinch them out, but what I find is if I let them grow to a certain length, if I pinch them out and then plant them in the soil, they will take root. So I can get extra plants from one of these rather than sow lots of seed and then have too many plants because I haven't got enough space. So I like to buy my plants from the garden centre because I like a selection, and in this case I've got 3 plants at the moment, but from these plants, if I let the suckers grow maybe 4 or 5 inches, and then if you either sit them in water they'll take root, or you can put them directly into the soil. Another thing I want to do, and I haven't done yet, is sow some basil. So if you plant your basil with your tomatoes, it's said to intensify the flavour. But yeah, so that's my first one. I haven't got enough compost to do any more today, so yeah, I'll have to leave that for now. Oh, I've just come back from the garden centre. So I've got plenty of compost now, which I'm just mixing up with my farmyard manure. So I'm going to plant the rest of my tomatoes. So I've mixed this up best I can, and it's as crumbly as I can make it. That should be good for the old tomatoes because they're hungry plants. So this is the second tomato that I'm sowing it deep again, same as I did yesterday with the Roma. Now this is Alicante and this is a true cordon, so it will be grown from one stem and it is a indeterminate, which means it will just keep growing like a vine unless I pinch out the top. And it's recommended that you pinch out the top when it reaches its 5th truss. So that's, a truss is where the fruit forms, you know, like you would have a bunch of grapes. I'm going to put some canes in and give that a good watering. So the last tomato I'm going to plant today is the Shirley. Again, this is an indeterminate, which means it will just continue to grow unless I pinch the top out. So once again, allowing for 5 trusses as recommended, and then pinch the top out. This is the 4th day that I've brought these plants out to harden off. I have noticed though that the sweet peas are going quite yellow, so I think they've used up all the goodness that's in that pot. And they're quite hardy, so I think I'm going to take a risk and plant them today, because we've got another high of between 17 and 18 today, and I think it's a low of 5, so it is above freezing. I could actually plant them and put some fleece around for tonight, so I think that's what I'm going to do. First of the Charlotte coming through. Oh, some more there. So these need topping up with soil. Oh, there's another one there as well. Nothing on the Penton Javelin. Oh, carrots are definitely romping away now. Look at that. You can clearly see the rows. So hopefully our carrots this year. So continuing with the apple tree saga, I've had quite a few comments from you guys with some great suggestions which I've been considering. But then last night I had a comment posted by Julie, and thank you for that, Julie, who said that she'd had this on her tree, but what she did was she cut the growth off and then covered the wound with wood glue to seal it, because obviously once you cut them off you're leaving an entry point for any further disease and pests. So yeah, she said that she'd covered it with wood glue, and that was 2 years ago, and her tree's doing fine. Well, I've got to try it, haven't I? So, and look at that blossom, it just looks so pretty. And if you hadn't noticed the burrs, you wouldn't know there was anything wrong with it.